Ladies and sisters in faith, today I want to speak directly to your heart to remind you, to encourage you, and to help you see the beauty of God's hand on your life. You are not just existing, you are thriving under the shadow of the Almighty, whether the world sees it or not, whether you see it or not. When God blesses a woman, it shows in powerful, undeniable ways. There's something powerful and supernatural about a woman who walks in peace when everything around her is falling apart. It's not that she's blind to the chaos or numb to the pain. It's that she has access to something deeper. This peace doesn't come from perfect circumstances. It comes from a perfect God. When God blesses a woman, He plants His peace within her heart, and that peace becomes her anchor. A woman blessed by God is not easily shaken. The storm may rage, the news may be bad, people may betray her, but her spirit stays steady. That steadiness doesn't mean she never cries or feels overwhelmed. It means she knows where to run when the world starts spinning into the arms of her Heavenly Father. Her peace is not a denial of reality, it's a declaration of faith. You'll notice her calmness, it's quiet, but powerful. It's not loud or boastful, but you can feel it. In a heated room, she's the voice of reason. In a crisis, she's the one who prays first, not panics first. Why? Because her peace is rooted in trust that God is bigger than whatever she's facing. She doesn't need all the answers because she knows the one who holds them. This kind of peace is not manufactured, it's received. Philippians 4:7 calls it the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. That means people might not even understand why she's so composed. They'll wonder how she still smiles, still shows up, still loves, still believes, and the answer is simple. She is blessed with God's peace, and it protects her mind and heart like a shield. Even in moments when her emotions try to rise up, she learns to speak to her soul. She says, like David in the Psalms, "Why are you downcast, O my soul? Hope in God." Her peace comes from her ability to reset her focus not on the problem but on the provider. And the more storms she survives, the stronger her peace becomes, because she's seeing God's faithfulness again and again. Peace is her weapon. She doesn't fight with insults or panic, she fights by resting in God's promises. The enemy hates this kind of woman because he can't manipulate her with fear. She has learned to be still and know that He is God. Her stillness is not passivity, it's power. It's the confidence that no matter what happens, she will not be destroyed. This woman may walk through fire, but she won't come out smelling like smoke. She knows how to cry in the secret place and come out in public clothed in strength and dignity. Her peace is the evidence of her connection to heaven. It's the first and loudest sign that she is blessed by God, not because life is easy, but because she is held, protected, and sustained by a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. There's a quiet confidence in a woman who knows her life has purpose. She may not know every detail of her journey, but she knows she's not here by accident. Her steps are ordered, her life is intentional, and her decisions are guided by something far greater than human understanding. They're directed by God. A woman blessed by God doesn't drift aimlessly, she walks with direction, even when the path isn't fully clear. This doesn't mean she has it all figured out. In fact, there are days when she has more questions than answers. But even then, she refuses to let confusion paralyze her. She leans into prayer, listens for God's voice, and trusts that He is leading her. Her faith becomes her compass. She knows that purpose isn't always a spotlight. Sometimes it's a whisper, a nudge, a closed door, or a delayed yes that leads her right to where she needs to be. A blessed woman doesn't chase everything that looks good, she seeks what is God ordained. She's not moved by trends, popularity, or pressure. She understands that just because it's available doesn't mean it's aligned with her assignment. She's selective, not because she's proud, but because she knows her time, energy, and spirit are valuable. She's not here to please people, she's here to fulfill divine purpose. Even in seasons of waiting, she walks with expectation. She doesn't sit still with fear, wondering if she missed her moment. She trusts that God's timing is perfect and that nothing He has planned for her will pass her by. Her waiting is active, filled with preparation, prayer, and growth. She doesn't waste time comparing her path to someone else's because she knows her story is tailor-made by the author of life. People around her may question her decisions. They may not understand why she turned down that opportunity, walked away from that relationship, or stayed faithful to something that looks small. But she's not looking for approval, she's walking in obedience. Purpose makes her bold. When she hears God say go, she moves. When He says wait, she stays. Her loyalty is to the calling, not the crowd. She carries herself with clarity. There's a sense of resolve in her voice, a focus in her eyes, and a rhythm to her walk. She may not be perfect, but she is planted. She doesn't jump from one thing to the next out of desperation, she discerns her moves. She knows when to speak and when to be silent, when to fight and when to let God fight for her. That kind of wisdom doesn't come from books, it comes from being in the presence of God. Her sense of purpose also empowers others. She inspires those around her simply by being who she is. Her presence awakens something in others, a desire to live intentionally, to pray more, to dream bigger, to listen to God more closely. That's the ripple effect of purpose. It doesn't just impact you, it influences the atmosphere and everyone connected to you. In every season, whether celebrated or overlooked, this woman keeps walking. Her steps are not random. Her journey is not wasted. Every detour, every trial, every victory is shaping her for something greater. She's not confused, she's being crafted. Because when you're blessed by God, your life isn't just about existing, it's about walking with purpose. That heaven itself has written, one of the most beautiful signs of a woman blessed by God is her ability to pour into others, even when she herself is going through pain. It's easy to give when life is going well, when your cup is full and your heart is light. But there's something supernatural about a woman who chooses to uplift others while quietly carrying her own burdens. That's not just kindness, that's the grace of God working through her. She may be dealing with heartbreak, financial strain, health battles, or silent disappointments, yet she still shows up for others. She texts encouragement, she listens without judgment, she prays for people who may never know what she's battling herself. She does it not because she's trying to be a hero, but because she knows what it means to be held by grace, and she becomes a vessel of that grace to others. Her strength isn't loud. It's not in grand gestures or public displays. It's in the quiet moments, wiping her own tears and then showing up with a smile for someone else. It's in the way she comforts others with the same comfort God gives her. She doesn't pretend everything's perfect. She simply chooses to love through the pain. That choice is what sets her apart. This kind of giving is costly. It takes emotional strength, spiritual maturity, and deep trust in God. She has learned that serving others in her struggle doesn't weaken her, it actually strengthens her. There's healing in giving. There's restoration in being a light for others. Every time she encourages someone else, she's reminded that her story isn't over and that God is still using her, even in the valley. People often wonder how she does it, how she manages to be so selfless when life hasn't always been fair to her. What they may not realize is that she isn't relying on her own strength. She draws from a well that never runs dry. God's grace sustains her. His Spirit empowers her. She gives because she knows the source of everything she needs is not within her, it's in Him. She doesn't give to be seen or praised. Her encouragement isn't performance, it's purpose. She speaks life into others because she knows what it feels like to need that life spoken into her. Her words carry weight because they come from a place of authenticity. She's not preaching from theory, she's pouring from experience. And that's why people feel safe with her, inspired by her, and changed by her presence. To the outside world, she may look like just another kind soul. But in the spiritual realm, she's a warrior. She's someone who pushes back darkness not just in her life, but in the lives of everyone she touches. Her giving is warfare. Her encouragement is ministry. Her very existence, even in struggle, is a sign that grace is real, active, and alive within her. There's something radiant about a woman who carries the presence of God within her. You may not be able to explain it, but you can feel it when she walks into a room. Her spirit shifts the atmosphere, not because she tries to dominate it, but because the light of God naturally flows through her. She doesn't have to say much, her very presence speaks peace, strength, and grace. This kind of light isn't about appearance or personality. It's about presence, God's presence. It's cultivated in the secret place, in quiet moments of worship, in battles fought through prayer, and in daily surrender. Because she has spent time in the presence of God, she brings that same presence into every space she enters. She becomes a carrier of light in dark places. People are drawn to her not just because she's kind or wise, but because they sense something deeper, something eternal. Her light comforts those who are hurting, inspires those who are weary, and challenges those who are complacent. She carries a spiritual influence that can't be manufactured. It's the result of intimacy with God and a heart that's fully surrendered to His will. She doesn't seek to be influential, she simply seeks to be faithful. And in doing so, God gives her influence. Her words carry weight. Her advice lingers. Her silence speaks. When she prays, things shift. When she encourages, souls rise. Her influence isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. It brings transformation, not just motivation. Even when she doesn't realize it, she is planting seeds of hope and healing wherever she goes. Sometimes just her presence in the room brings calm to conflict. Sometimes her quiet strength reminds others to keep going. Her light isn't loud, it's consistent. And in a world full of noise and distraction, that kind of consistency is rare and powerful. She may never stand on a stage or hold a microphone, but her life preaches. Her faith, her choices, her endurance, all of it points people to God. She walks in humility, not seeking recognition, but heaven takes notice. And so does the world. Because when a woman shines with God's light, people can't help but be changed by it. The influence she carries isn't about status, it's about surrender. It's not about followers, it's about fruit. It's not about impressing others, it's about impacting them. And she does simply by being who she is, a woman who has been with God, walks with God, and reflects the light of God wherever she goes. When you are a woman blessed by God, you begin to notice that certain things in your life happen that you couldn't have orchestrated on your own. Opportunities appear where there were once only obstacles. People offer help without being asked. Resources come just when you need them. These are not coincidences, they are signs of divine favor. God's hand is on your life, and His favor goes before you to open doors no one else can. These open doors are not always explained by qualifications or connections. Sometimes you get the job even though others were more experienced. You're invited into rooms you didn't lobby to enter. People recommend you, trust you, and bless you without knowing why, but you know. It's not luck. It's not charm. It's not strategy. It's the supernatural favor of God working on your behalf. God's favor doesn't follow logic, it follows obedience. You may have taken paths that didn't make sense to others. You may have walked away from what seemed like sure things and chosen instead to follow God's leading. But your surrender positioned you for blessings you couldn't have created on your own. That's what divine favor does. It rewards faithfulness, even in hidden places. You'll often find that the doors God opens for you are ones no person could have planned. He doesn't just open good doors, He opens right ones. Sometimes it's a last-minute connection. Other times, it's a long-awaited breakthrough. But when it comes, it's clear that it was God's doing, because no one else can get the credit. And when God opens the door, no one can shut it. Favor doesn't mean everything is easy, but it does mean that you are covered. It means that even when the enemy tries to block your path, God makes a way. It means delays turn into divine setups, and what seemed like a loss becomes a launching pad. A woman blessed by God walks in the assurance that if one door closes, it's only because something greater is being prepared. People might ask, how did she get that opportunity? Or why does everything seem to fall into place for her? But they don't see the nights you prayed, the battles you fought, or the obedience you walked in behind the scenes. Favor is often the visible fruit of an invisible faith. It's not about being the most impressive, it's about being the most surrendered. When favor follows you, you stop chasing things because you understand that what is for you will find you. You rest, you trust, and you move when God says move. Your confidence isn't in your resume, your network, or your title, it's in your connection to the King of Kings. And when He puts His favor on your life, no barrier is too big, and no door is too heavy to open. A woman blessed by God is not defined by how many times she falls, she is defined by how many times she gets back up. Life has knocked her down more than once. She's faced heartbreak, disappointment, rejection, and unexpected loss. But every time she's been pushed to the ground, she's found the strength to rise again. That strength doesn't come from willpower alone, it comes from the hand of God lifting her. Her resilience is not just natural, it's supernatural. It doesn't make sense to those watching from the outside. Some people counted her out, expecting her to stay broken. Others walked away, assuming she would never recover. But they didn't see the quiet moments where she cried out to God, where His presence met her in the dark, and where His word reminded her that she is not forsaken. Each time she rises, she carries new wisdom. Her pain didn't leave her empty, it refined her. Her scars didn't break her, they deepened her strength. She knows now that every setback was a setup for a greater comeback. And with each fall, she grew more sure of one thing: God never left her side. That awareness has become her anchor. What others see as strength is really grace in action. She doesn't boast in her ability to keep it together. She knows it's not about her toughness, it's about God's faithfulness. The world says you're so strong, but her heart whispers, if they only knew how much I've leaned on Jesus. Her bounce back isn't a personality trait, it's the evidence of a sustaining God. She no longer fears failure the way she used to, because she knows falling isn't the end. God has taught her how to stand again, wiser, braver, and more aware of her identity in Him. She's not afraid of breaking anymore, because she's learned that in her brokenness, God builds something new. And every time she rises stronger. Her resilience becomes a testimony. Other women see her and gain courage. They see someone who has survived what they're still fighting. And without even knowing it, she becomes proof that you can heal, you can rebuild, and you can walk again after crawling. Her life becomes a mirror of God's mercy and strength in motion. Resilience for her is not about perfection, it's about persistence. She's not flawless, but she is faithful. She may fall, but she doesn't quit. And through it all, she holds on to the truth that as long as God is she will always rise, not because she's unstoppable, but because His grace is. There's a quiet power in a woman whose foundation is faith. No matter what life throws at her, she doesn't crumble because her strength isn't based on her surroundings. It's built on something deeper. She's anchored in her belief that God is in control, and that anchor keeps her steady even when the winds of life try to blow her off course. Her faith is not fragile, it's fierce. She has learned that storms are part of life, but panic doesn't have to be. When things don't go according to plan, she doesn't spiral into fear or doubt. Instead, she falls to her knees, knowing that prayer is her first line of defense. While others may be overwhelmed by what they see, she is grounded in what she knows, that God is faithful, God is present, and God is still working. This anchoring didn't happen overnight. It was built through battles, developed through delays, and strengthened through seasons where she had nothing but God to hold on to. And in those seasons, she discovered that faith isn't just a feeling, it's a decision. A decision to trust even when the outcome is uncertain. A decision to believe even when nothing makes sense. Her stability doesn't mean she doesn't feel the weight of life, it means she knows where to lay that weight. She brings her burdens to God, casting them at His feet with the confidence that He can carry what she cannot. Her peace is not denial, it's dependence. She doesn't pretend everything is fine, but she proclaims that even in chaos, God is still good. People may look at her and wonder how she stays so composed. The truth is, it's not her, it's the God within her. She's chosen to build her life on the rock, not on shifting sand. That's why when others are shaken by life's changes, she remains steady. She's not immune to hardship, but she is immune to hopelessness, because her hope is rooted in something eternal. Her faith leads her decisions, her mindset, and her reactions. She doesn't need the approval of people or the security of perfect plans. She trusts God's timing, God's direction, and God's protection. She has seen too much of His goodness to doubt Him now. Even in uncertainty, her spirit stays calm because she knows who holds her future. Being anchored in faith means she's grounded, not restless, focused, not frantic. And though the world may shift, her foundation does not. Her life becomes a testimony of what it looks like to truly trust God, not just in the easy seasons, but in every season. She's not shaken because her faith is firm and her God is unchanging. When you are a woman blessed by God, your blessings aren't always measured by the things you possess or the accolades you receive. Instead, they are reflected in the transformation of your character. It's not just about the car you drive or the house you live in, it's about how you treat others, how you carry yourself, and how you respond to challenges. Your true blessings are visible in the qualities that define who you are on the inside. The beauty of a character shaped by God is that it stands the test of time. While material possessions can come and go, a woman who is blessed by God carries qualities that last: integrity, kindness, patience, and humility. These are the riches that can't be stolen or destroyed. When people encounter you, they don't just notice what you have, they notice who you are, and that is where true blessings lie. Her blessings are evident in how she handles conflict. While many might lash out in anger, she responds with grace. When people disappoint her, she forgives. When life is unfair, she remains steadfast in her faith. Her strength is not in her ability to control circumstances, but in her ability to control her response to them. This inner strength is a testimony to the character God has cultivated in her over time. She doesn't need to boast about her accomplishments because her actions speak louder than words. The way she serves others without seeking recognition, the way she lifts up those around her even when she is struggling, these are signs of a heart that has been deeply touched by God's love. She knows that true greatness comes from serving, not from being served. A blessed woman understands that material things may offer temporary comfort, but they don't define her. She's learned to find contentment in whatever season of life she's in. Whether she has plenty or is in need, her joy isn't tied to her circumstances. Her blessing is rooted in her ability to remain grateful and gracious, regardless of what the world says she should want or need. People are drawn to her because they see something different in the way she carries herself. Her confidence isn't based on appearances or social status, it's grounded in her relationship with God. Her worth is not determined by how the world defines success, but by how God sees her. That inner security radiates from her, and it's contagious. She brings peace to the room and wisdom to the table. Her blessings are reflected in the way she lifts others up. She has a way of making people feel seen, heard, and valued. She sees potential in those who have been overlooked, and she nurtures it with her encouragement. She knows that success isn't just about what she achieves, but about how she helps others rise with her. Her generosity isn't limited to material things. It extends to her time, her heart, and her wisdom. Ultimately, the true measure of her blessings is in the legacy she leaves. It's not about the things she has accumulated, but the lives she has touched and the love she has shared. When people look at her, they don't just see someone who has been blessed with wealth or success. They see someone whose life has been marked by compassion, faith, and grace. And that, above all, is the greatest blessing of all. There is something profoundly beautiful about being used by God in the midst of your pain. It seems counterintuitive to think that God would use you when you're hurting. Yet it's often in your deepest struggles that His presence shines the brightest. God doesn't wait for you to be perfect or pain-free to accomplish His will through you. Instead, He steps into your vulnerability and says, "I trust you even here." This is a sign of divine trust that God sees something in you that He can use, even in the darkest moments. When you experience pain and hardship, it's easy to think that you're being abandoned or forgotten. But in reality, God is entrusting you with something sacred. He allows you to experience deep pain because He knows you will turn that pain into purpose. Your story, filled with hardship, becomes the very vessel through which He will show His power, His grace, and His healing to the world. Being used by God in your pain is a reminder that your life has eternal significance. Pain has a way of softening a heart, making it more compassionate and empathetic. When you suffer, you begin to understand the hurt of others in a way that no one else can. It's through your pain that God shapes your heart, preparing you to minister to those who are walking similar roads. You become a living testimony of God's faithfulness, a beacon of hope to those who feel like they are too broken to be used. God doesn't waste your pain. Instead, He uses it to refine you for His greater purposes. In the midst of your pain, God is teaching you to rely on Him like never before. You may feel weak, fragile, and unworthy, but this is when God's strength is made perfect. He knows that when you are broken, you are open to receiving His grace in a way you may not have when everything was going smoothly. The very fact that He uses you in those moments is a sign of divine trust. God doesn't choose the perfect or the strong, He chooses the willing. And in your willingness to be used even in your weakness, He finds glory. Being used by God in your pain also means that you are participating in something far greater than yourself. You're not just enduring pain for the sake of enduring, you are being shaped to carry God's purpose forward. Pain often leads to growth, and growth leads to fruitfulness. What may seem like suffering today is preparing you for the harvest that is coming tomorrow. God is planting seeds in you during the difficult seasons that will bear fruit for His kingdom. What's even more powerful is that, as you are used by God, you may not always see the results right away. You may pour into others, offering comfort, wisdom, or prayer, but not see any immediate changes. Yet God is using you in ways you cannot fathom. When you speak from a place of pain, your words carry more weight. Your testimony becomes a lifeline for someone else, and God's power is made manifest in your vulnerability. This divine trust also means that God has a purpose for your pain that goes beyond what you could ever imagine. You may never fully understand why you had to go through certain struggles, but as you step into God's calling, He begins to reveal glimpses of His plan. It's in the pain that you learn to trust Him more deeply, and that trust opens doors to a more profound relationship with Him. Your pain becomes the platform for a more intimate walk with your Creator as He walks with you every step of the way. Lastly, being used by God in your pain doesn't just impact you, it changes the lives of those around you. Your story, your resilience, your willingness to serve even in your sorrow becomes a testimony that inspires others. They see that God can use anyone no matter what they've been through. Through you, they see that pain does not define them, God's purposes do. Your life, though marked by struggle, becomes a vessel of hope, reminding everyone around you that they too can be used for divine purposes, even in their pain.